Hey everybody, my name is Cliff Ford and I'm back for a brand new video. In today's video, we're going to be partying like animals, right? And we're going to need to party like animals in order to cover the video we're going to do today, alright? So start getting your party hats on and start dancing like animals, right? Choose any animal you want, alright? Choose a monkey, a horse, a rabbit, a cat, I don't care, right? Choose your animal and start dancing like an animal, right? Okay, let's get into today's video, alright? We're going to be doing a Straw Hats as Animals video, or should I be more clear, Straw Hats as Minks video, alright? What if the Straw Hats were actually Minks, alright? Now, I'm not actually going to basically draw the Straw Hats as Minks, because I'm a terrible artist, okay? Let's just get that out there, okay? But I am basically going to give my general thought and idea of, like, what if the Straw Hats were actually born as actual Minks themselves, right? Now, it should be noted that, in terms of the Minks themselves, they refer to humans as lesser Minks. So I guess you could still say that the human characters are Minks. However, it still would feel a little bit more appreciative or a little bit more interesting if we actually went to more of like an actual full mink situation. All right. Now, some of them are pretty obvious, and some of them have to be thought about a little bit more. Because, so to put it simple, Oda did basically give us animal ideas to represent the Strike Crew. However, some of the animals that were chosen to represent those characters can't be used in terms of minks. Okay. Now, before I officially give out the animals that Oda gave us, let's go over what minks are in generally in the One Piece world, alright? So in the One Piece story, minks are basically a race that exists within the New World, alright? They basically live on Zo, which is the giant elephant Zunisha that wanders the seas because of a punishment for a crime that he committed 800 years ago, okay? To basically summarize, one of the most popular minks that is well known and is very popular is Carrot. Carrot, who basically sailed with some of the Strike Crew to Whole Cake and then to Wano. She was the top contender to join the Strike Crew. Fortunately, that never came to fruition, but a lot of people are holding on hope that Carrot will eventually return and join them for a final journey to the final island. All right, so we'll have to see where that goes on that. Okay. You also have characters like Wanda, Inarashi, Nekomamushi, Pedro, Beppo, Peckham's. You have all these interesting characters, all minks. We'll just and I really want to go over the idea of like the Straw Hats as minks themselves. All right. Okay. So let's go over the Straw Hats and go over the animals that they've basically been represented. Okay. Some of these were answered in SBS, and some of them were actually given on a color spread. Right. That was in one of the chapters. I don't remember which chapter it was necessarily, okay? Alright. So for Luffy was given the animal of a monkey, alright? That's alright. And to be honest, I feel like a monkey could actually work. For Luffy, so I see no reason why that actually needs to be changed. So a monkey is probably the best one for him as a mink. So yeah, so really, there's really no reason that needs to be changed. It just fits in perfectly. Now, Zoro's two animals were given as a shark and a tiger. However, we can't go with the shark because basically because of aquatic and seas like that. Of course, there are aquatic mammals, all right, but the difference between these kind of minks is that these are fur mammal characters, all right, fur mammalian characters, all right. And stuff. However, he was given a tiger in a color spread page, right? So we can go with the tiger as an option for Zoro's mink form, right? So tiger mink Zoro would probably be the best option in that case, and I think it could actually work. Nami has always been given as a cat, and to be honest, I feel like a cat actually works for her the best, and I don't see any reason to change it, just as much as Luffy's is a monkey. The cat just perfectly works for her in this case, and to be honest, I think the cat can actually lead into so many possibilities of like her backstory and what her origins can be. I might have more on that a little bit later, okay? Now moving on to Usopp. Usopp's animals were given as an armadillo and a chameleon. We can't go with the chameleon because it's a reptile. We can go with the armadillo because it is a mammal. Armadillos are basically those they're kind of like those shell-like creatures that roll up in a ball and stuff like that. They do have fur that's basically like on their on kind of like their sides and underbellies and stuff like that. They do have like fur or hair underneath them. And armadillos are considered mammals, so we could probably go with that as an option and stuff like that. But if not, there might be another animal, like maybe we can go with weasel. The term of like, weaseling your way out of things, just like that, which is something that Usopp would do. Not like all the time. It depends on the situation, alright? Sanji was given a duck and a bighorn sheep. We also can't go with the duck because, a bird or a fowl and stuff like that. So our only option is to go with the bighorn sheep, which probably makes the most sense, okay? And stuff. Now, Chopper's natural form is a reindeer, right? He was born as a reindeer. He is technically a reindeer, right? He's not a tanuki. He's a reindeer, right? Make sure you get that correct, okay? However, he was also given a red panda in terms of like another animal to represent him, okay? And you know what? It would be kind of interesting if for the Minks situation we go over it, if Chopper was actually a red panda instead, you know, to throw in a bit of an idea, a bit of a creativity for Chopper, not leave Chopper out of the situation, okay? So I probably go with Red Panda as a mink form for Chopper to basically give an idea, okay? Now this is where it gets interesting because now we're getting to Robin, okay? So Robin's two animals were representing of her are birds, right? Both a Kraken and a falcon, all right? However, we can't go with these because these are birds and we need an actual mammal themselves, all right? So I went over it and I basically had to think of what could be the best option for Robin in this case. Like what can we use for her necessarily to give it a better idea, all right? And the best way I decided to think of it is to go with a fossorial animal, right? Fossorial is just basically Latin and fossor, which means digger, right? This could basically work for Robin and stuff because Robin is an archaeologist, right? Archaeologists are one of the many types of work kind of places that actually have to, basically have to do in digging in order to study ancient history, right? Robin is an archaeologist who studies history, and some of the things that you have to study are buried beneath the ground, right? And that's something you're going to have to dig up in order to learn about, okay? So the animal I chose for her necessarily, there are a lot of fossorial animals, but the one I chose to go with is a ground squirrel. There is one specific ground squirrel called Zorini. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right, so I do apologize, okay? Now, in the One Piece world, there is an actual squirrel, a female squirrel that exists, right? Her name is Tristan, right? She's basically like the nurse's aide and stuff like that. She was actually helping Chopper a lot of times during Zoe and during the Wano events, during the Battle of Onigashima and stuff like that. So, as a matter of fact, there are three different distinct species of squirrels. You have ground squirrels, tree squirrels, and flying squirrels. I think Tristan is more toned to be like a tree squirrel, where Robin can be more naturally towards the ground squirrel, right? So I think a ground squirrel could actually work for Robin in this case, okay? Now moving on to Frankie. Frankie was given a bull and a rhinoceros. Both of these can actually work in this case, but I might go with the bull instead. Right? I think the bull could actually work better for Frankie in this case. If not, the rhinoceros is a good option, but I might go with the bull instead. Okay. For Brooke, Brooke was given both a horse and a giraffe. Just like Frankie, both of these can actually work for. But if I had to choose one to represent him as an actual mink character, I might go with the horse. But the giraffe is basically a good option too. But I'll go with the horse instead. Okay. Now, Jinbei is basically based off a whale shark. That's what his design is based off of. However, we can't honestly go with the whale shark, so we're going to have to go with something else. And I decided we'll go with bear instead for Jinbei, because bear is another animal that he was represented by, and bear is probably the best option in this case. Alright, so using a bear just basically fits, okay? Now, I'll throw Vivi in as also... now Vivi's animal was given as a dove. However, if I had to really choose an animal for her, I'd probably go with a cat, the same as Nami. I feel like Vivi and Nami having the same animal would just basically fit better, and to me, it weighs in a little bit more or stuff like that. Especially when you look at how much Vivi's whole situation is that her whole kingdom is inspired, or Alabasta is basically taking inspiration from ancient Egypt. Not to mention her name Nefertari being a reference or being connected to Queen Nefertari, who existed like many years ago. So it weighs into so many possibilities like that, and especially how you look up how cats have so many ties and connections to ancient Egypt and stuff like that. So I feel like it can actually work. Plus, I think this might actually serve as a better connection if there's a possibility that both Vivi and Nami will be related in some way, which I'm actually going to have a video coming up on that pretty soon. So stay tuned where I do another Nami's origin video where I'm going to really really throw in some connections that Nami and Vivi might be related, or they could be related, right? I should probably say that as well, okay? So those are the typical animals I have for the Straw Hats as minks generally, alright? And just as a bonus, I want to throw Lilith in there for just the fun of it, okay? Alright. So for Lilith, I chose a dog, right? I chose a dog for Lilith. Now, why a dog, alright? Well, I decided to think of the idea of like Nami in a general aspect, alright? So you know how Nami is referred to as a cat burglar and stuff like that? I thought of the concept of dog robber, okay? Now, dog robber is a term that does exist. It's just not widely used anymore, okay? But it is something that it exists, okay? A dog robber can have different meanings, but there is one specific meaning I want to point to, right? And a dog robber was basically described as someone who steals scraps of foods from dogs, okay? So think of how we first met Lilith, okay? Now, Lilith, basically was in charge of controlling and commanding the Sea Beast, and the Sea Beast's jobs were basically to salvage the ships and scraps in order to, in order to take them, and so, Lilith can basically go through them and find the treasure and, do anything that they can do with them in order to sell them, in order to make money off of them and stuff like that, okay? That was basically the whole job. However, the Sea Beast had tended the problem to actually just destroying these scraps completely and eating them full whole, right? Which wasn't something that they weren't supposed to do, and it basically messed up their basically, it didn't really mess up their programming, and more like they were just going through natural instinct of themselves, okay? Because they're basically animals, okay? So, to summarize, I chose to go with the dog in a sense because, like, how the interaction between Nami and Lilith came to fruition, and it really seemed like a good way to represent the bickering and stuff like that, right? Not to mention where you have, like, Nami, who is fascinated with jewels and jewelry and stuff like that. When we first met Lilith, she was very keen to basically take the treasure of the Strike crew if they had treasure, right? Because to basically sum her up, since they were emperor, she thought, well, they must have lots of treasure, okay? Alright, so I chose to go with the dog robber in that sense, okay? Not to mention, when you look at the etymology of robber inside that, and you really look into it, a robber, another etymology of robber is roverer, which might also stem from the possibility that it is basically, adapted or it's basically adapted or etymology into like parts of the world or even parts of things like pirates and stuff like that. So it really stems depending on the origins and where you look and stuff like that. All right. So those are the animals I have for the Straw Hats Cruise as Minks necessarily, alright? So that's all I really got for the video. Please let me know what you like, if you think these are good options. Feel free to leave a comment down below. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned. I'm going to have another video pretty soon doing an origin video on Nami. I did one before, but I want to really go deep into it. But maybe not super deep, right? But I'm going to basically going over the general ideas of like the possibilities of like all of Nami's possible connections to which family should be connected to, and which one I might actually like and consider. Okay, and there might be more to that than you can probably think of, right? So stay tuned for that video as soon as I can get it out. Thank you so much for joining me. Once again, if you liked the video, subscribe to the channel, smash that like button. Do whatever you want to do, right? Feel free to do whatever you want, right? And I'm kind of done partying here. I was dancing like crazy through this whole video, right? And don't say I wasn't, right? I'm telling you, right? I was dancing crazy, right? Right, but unfortunately, I'm getting tired of dancing, and I need to stop. I need to sit down. So, you all have a good day. See you on the next video. Bye, everybody.